Hi, I'm Jeff Baumgartner with Light Reading Cable, and I'm glad to be joined today by Sanjay and Dan Moloney of Motorola Mobility. Today we're just going to talk a little bit about the Google deal, but spend a little more time talking about cable technology trends since we're here in Atlanta at the cable-tec expo. Since the Motorola Google deal is high on everybody's mind, let's just start there. Soon after that deal was announced, there were some cable executives that I was talking to, and they privately told me that they really liked this idea of bringing Android to the cable set-top environment. And maybe I want to get an update from you guys. I mean, how is Android really fitting into your set-top strategy today, and what sort of advantages do you think cable operators can get with kind of an Android strategy in the set-top?
Well, maybe I can, Jeff, start by giving a little update on where we are on the deal, and maybe Dan could talk a little bit about Android. There is a regulatory approval process that we're going through right now, and there's this rule called gun jumping, which allows for us to operate entirely separately till we are converged together. So the conversations between the two companies on what we may or may not do in the future have been very, very limited, and we're very respectful of the rules and laws. But I think we're excited about the combination. I think some of the capabilities that Google has in terms of software and services, combined with some of the capabilities that obviously Motorola has in terms of hardware and cable modem and end-to-end content delivery, I think could be quite exciting. But I'll defer to Dan.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you think about what's happened over the last 3 to 4 years in the mobile space with Android, bringing this open operating environment, and more importantly, bringing the ecosystem along with it, has really changed the whole mobile landscape and how the mobile operators look at their business and are able to extract new sources of revenue and drive consumer enjoyment of the service offerings. That possibility exists to look at that in cable. I think today the cable industry in North America has been very focused on rolling out an OCAP operating environment. Right. And we certainly are full bore behind that and have deployed it ourselves and with a number of operators. We'll see as time goes on whether Android can provide some new value add. But as Sanjay said, we're excited about the opportunities that are going to be there in the future.
Okay, and I realize we can't do any gun jumping here. So, but although I know the deal isn't done yet, but there are already some ways you already can see, Google helping Motorola's Mobility's home business, because you guys have historically been, really known for hardware. Google's been, really known for software. It seems like there's some potential there.
I think Motorola really is a high-tech consumer company. On the mobile side, we have delivered devices which are really driven now by software and differentiation in software. So I would say we're very much focused on software. If you look at 25% of our revenue now comes from software and services. So I'd say we're already on the path of becoming a much more software-centric organization. But certainly I think Google, from the internet perspective, brings a new set of understanding and capabilities. They have a much stronger internet presence than we do. And so I think we're looking forward to understanding how that we can lever the two together to create some opportunities for us.
I want to talk about wireless a little bit. Cable historically has been kind of all over the map in terms of wireless strategies. You have some that are doing Wi-Fi, some that are actually offering a mobile phone service, and there's some that haven't announced anything yet. So what do you guys see as kind of cable's greatest opportunity with mobile and wireless, and what kind of advice would you have to the cable industry on how to chase it?
Well, I would say, first of all, I think it's worth looking at what's happened to wireless industry over the last 5 years. I think it was 2007 that the iPhone first hit the marketplace, and I think in some ways I kind of feel like it's been a bucking bronco business, which is to say that every day wireless industry changes dramatically. And you either love being in that industry, which is changing at this rapid pace, or you don't stay in the industry and compete as well for a long period of time. I think that the rate of change has been amazing. 5 times the number of people this year will watch content and TV on their smartphone as they did last year. By 2012, there will be about 480 million smartphones globally. 2013, people are saying there'll be about 1 billion smartphones. And this, in 5 years, was close to zero by the modern definition of smartphone. So there's been a tremendous increase in the processing capability. If you look, we started with about 100 megahertz processor. Today, we have dual-core 1.2 gigahertz processor. We started with 64 megabyte of memory in a phone. Now we have 1 gigabyte of memory, all of this in 5 years. Essentially, we have the capability of a PC, a consumer device, and a mobile device combined together. And we see this convergence occurring in the mobile world. And I think there are lessons there for the cable industry as well, because I think that all of these screens have to go home, have to come home. If you look, there is a limitation in the wireless world, which is the cost of delivering gigabyte of data is way, way cheaper in the wired world than it is in the wireless world. 80–90% of the content that people consume still comes to them through their home. And the question for the the cable industry is, given that all these displays, tablets and smartphones are now coming to home, is there an opportunity to extend the content ecosystem to these new screens? 3 screens of consequence: TV screen, smartphone, and tablets. At the moment, our industry, cable industry, delivers mostly, largely, almost exclusively to the TV screen. There's a tremendous opportunity to extend beyond just the TV screen and deliver content, because I think it is better positioned to deliver content to these other screens than I would, for instance, say, in the wireless world, where the cost of delivery of that content could be quite high.
So in other words, should cable love wireless and mobile a little bit more than they are today?
I would say, because there's tremendous opportunity and potentially threat also. I mean, this is a $130 billion service industry, say $70–80 billion advertising industry. Everyone else is looking at that $200–210 billion industry and saying, how can we get a piece of that? Well, guess what? This industry owns that. And the question is, how do we defend that revenue source and extend it beyond where it already is?
And I think if you look at what consumers want today, it's ubiquitous connectivity. They want to be able to be socially connected. They want to be able to get the content wherever and whenever they want it, which means being able to work in a mobile world, not just in the home environment. So clearly there's an intersection and a connectivity that has to happen. And I don't think there's one strategy that necessarily wins here, but the reality is wireless connected to the traditional cable industry is an absolute must in the future to satisfy consumer needs.
And I would just say, I mean, that's part of the reason why Motorola Mobility, when we spun out from Motorola last year, actually it feels like last year, just earlier this year, we have 2 assets, the mobile devices asset and the home asset, the set-top box as well as the end-to-end content delivery, because we see this convergence as being strategically valuable both to our company and to the industry.